Today, we're going to talk about an interesting film that not too many people are talking about, or maybe everybody's talking about. I have no idea because I don't hear much about this movie going around. So, we are going to dive into Y2K, a movie I knew nothing about and kind of slipped under my radar. As you guys know, I am saving my top 10 list for the end of the year just for situations like this. I want Creature Commandos to slip through there. There's also Secret Level, which I'll be doing a review about, and a bunch of other things coming out at the end of this year that I wanted to get into my list, and hopefully I can get as many of them as I can on my top 10 movie list. So, what did I think of Y2K? Let me give you guys a little bit of background to tell you what the hell this thing is in case you didn't know, like I didn't know. First of all, I went to see this movie with my daughter, The Little Dictator, The Little General, and I kind of got a different perspective from not just me reviewing it, but seeing how she reacted. We had like 9 or 10 people in my theater. So this is interesting because A24 does a lot of artsy movies. Probably one of my close to my favorite movies of this year would be Heretic, which was another A24 film, but that's more of their wheelhouse. They do artsy, intellectual, think piece films, things that studios don't want to mess with. This movie is what you would normally see someone like Blumhouse put out. This is a very goofy concept, and I'll get into that all later. But it is directed by Kyle Mooney, which is a first-time director. It has Jaden Martell, Rachel Ziegler, Julian Dennison, Alicia Silverstone, and I'm not going to tell you the surprise in it because there is a surprise cameo for all you 90s rock fans. You'll know who it is when you see them, and it kind of gives me a throwback to Zombieland vibes when we got that surprise cameo, which everybody's seen that fucking movie. It was Bill Murray. This doesn't have the same effect, but if you are a fan of 90s rock or hardcore rock scene, rock rap, that kind of shit, you'll know who it is when you see it. So what is the movie about? Y2K, hey, what's up, Bola? Y2K is the story, if you guys didn't know, in the 90s, which I grew up, do the Macarena. Yeah. Oh my God, the Macarena. There is, funny story. I'll get to that. There is a lot of references that made me chuckle in this movie. So if you guys don't know what Y2K is, or you were too young, Y2K, everybody thought the world was going to end in 1999 because of a glitch in computer systems. When the clocks turned over, they thought everything was going to shut down. This movie takes that premise and it goes fucking wacky with it. And so instead of the world's clocks not wearing out, everything goes to plan, but there's a power surge and everything comes to life. Microwaves, TVs, Tamagotchis. Yes, if you guys don't know, we had Tamagotchis. They were fucking awesome. Anyways, Tamagotchis, CD players, a bunch of shit comes to life and starts killing people. And that's your premise for this film. Now, I want to do my positives, my negatives, and then I'll give you my overall rating. First of all, the first 20 minutes of this movie is fucking hilarious. I don't know the actor's name. I think it's Julian Denson. He was in Deadpool 2. He played the heavyset pyro guy. He's in this movie. He's fucking hilarious. Now, this is my issue with this kind of movie, and it's a problem with mixing horror and comedy together. This is very bloody. It's very gory, and some people are going to die. My issues come in the fact that the first 20 minutes is funny on the positive side, but on the negative side, when you have so many personalities, they tend to kill off the people who are providing the humor for the movie. There's 2 or 3 characters in this film that are particularly super fucking funny, and within this movie's about an hour and a half almost. It's not really long. And in the first 20 to 30 minutes, they kill the funniest people in this movie. And so you get to a situation where everyone you connect with in this film, you start to get kind of angry because they're killing the funny elements of this movie. So when you get to the end of this film, there's no one you really give a shit about. Now, there's a big controversy with Rachel Ziegler. If you guys don't know, she started a lot of shit online with the Snow White, and I don't give a fuck about that. But I will say this. I don't think she's a good actress. Not at all. I think she's a typical, stereotypical, plays the same shit. She has no range. She's honestly quite terrible. And in this movie, she is the focal point. The person playing opposite of her is Jaden Martell, and he's actually good. But the problem is, Jaden Martell and Rachel Ziegler are supposed to have this chemistry, and they have no fucking chemistry in this movie. None. Like, they would be people you would think were best friends. And that hurts the film because it's a love story centered around them in an apocalyptic situation. Now, I'm not saying it's like a teen romance or anything like that. I'm saying the crux of the movie is about the nerd who goes through some shit, and he gets the hot girl or whatever. And you have to have chemistry with your two leads. And unfortunately, the two leads just don't have chemistry. So as the cast gets smaller and they focus on this other plot, you kind of start to not give a shit because you don't really care about these two characters. And it's a shame because this movie does have a lot of good elements to it. I also want to say the practical effects and the gore are pretty good in this movie. There's some things where you could see obviously props or whatever, but as far as I could see, there's no CGI, and the blood and gore effects are pretty cool. Some of the kills are downright funny. I'm not going to lie, because I grew up in the 90s, and there's some direct 90s type of things that kill these people, like CD players, and there's a fucking cassette tape in there. Like, if you lived in the 90s, I was born in 84. If your prime time was the 90s, you'll get a lot of things out of this. They really hit the 90s vibe well. They hit the aesthetics very well. The fucking song choices in this movie are fantastic. I'm not going to lie, the score for this made me want to make a mixtape. The funniest part was the use of online. They used the AOL system. Anybody who lived in the 90s knows about AOL. It was the worst fucking internet ever created. And you had to hear like, and God forbid someone got on the fucking phone. You had to start all over again. I'm sorry, flashbacks. So hearing the buzz tones and everything, and going back to when the 90s technology and era was a little fun thing. Now, my major issues with the film, my huge problem is that it loses the comedy and doesn't balance it with the horror. And the plot is not strong enough to carry the rest of the film. It's a fun time. I had a good laugh. But I don't think it's a movie I wouldn't have enjoyed if my daughter was with me throughout the whole thing, because she obviously didn't grow up in the era that I was in. So she got a lot more laughs out of this than I did. And I really don't want A24 to go, hey, Carmen, how are you doing? I really don't want A24 to go in this direction. I don't want A24 to start putting out the shit that Blumhouse puts out. Because don't get me wrong, Blumhouse is like a blind squirrel. They'll find a nut every now and again. But a lot of their shit is more miss than hit. That's just my personal opinion. I like a couple Blumhouse movies, but they're like the McDonald's of horror. They appeal to a certain target audience, the 18, 19-year-old kids. And, you know, if you're younger and you like that shit, good for you. I don't. I am older. I like more intellectual horror, but I do have my guilty pleasures, my stupid movies I like to watch. And this could have fell into that. But there's just so many mistakes that they make towards the end of this film. Also, the cameo in this goes on a little bit too long. Now, in Zombieland, Bill Murray was in it for about 5 seconds. I'm joking, probably like 5-10 minutes. And it was funny because he was in and he was out. He wasn't the focus of the movie. It was a funny nod, and you go, oh shit, Bill Murray, you think it's going somewhere. And then the funniest part is he gets killed by somebody else, not even like a zombie. Like, and there's a whole joke about it. The cameo in this one is fun, and you'll get a chuckle, but they're there way too long. And it's kind of takes away from the journey of the other characters, because now you're focused on the cameo person and not so much the other characters. And it does work with another character that's in the film. Now, I will say there was only one other character. It's this girl with dyed green hair. You'll know who I'm talking about when you see the movie. She's the only other character I liked by the end of this film. But the two main leads, I did not fucking like. And that's an issue. So I'm going to say this movie is fun. It's a fun movie. It didn't do anything that offended me. There's no political statements. It's just a lot on commentary on Y2K and how fucking stupid people were during that, and what if it really happened. And I like those situations. I'm going to be on the lookout for this director, Kyle Mooney, because this was his first movie, and to me, it was this close from being a really, really good movie. Not the best, but you could tell the director has something. I don't know what it is, but I will watch his next movie. I think he's got a niche, and I think that he's got a talent. And I think if he hones it and just tightens up the writing on his scripts, he could probably be like a great horror comedy director, or maybe he does a straight up horror movie. I don't know where he's aiming for, but if he does more horror comedy, I think he is like a movie or two away from making like a scary movie or something, because this felt for the first time like comedy that wasn't afraid to be comedy. And what I mean by that is the last couple of years, comedies have fucking sucked. People are afraid of being canceled. They're afraid of saying edgy shit, so they don't go there. There's no comedy movie I've seen this year that made me actually chuckle or even fucking laugh, where it goes there. And don't say Deadpool. Deadpool doesn't count. I know what you're gonna. Nah, I don't count Deadpool as straight up comedy. I still put that under superhero. That's Deadpool's character. I'm talking about like The Hangover, or like Road Trip, or those or American Pie. Like, we don't have comedies like that anymore. This was the first movie I felt that little bit of edge, and I think this director could do that because of how the jokes he was telling. When they land, they were funny, they were relevant, and it poked fun at different things, and it reminded me of how I used to feel watching these movies. I don't think this is a hit. I don't even think very many people know about this movie, because I didn't know about it. I was looking for a horror movie to take my daughter to see because she likes horror, and this came up as a horror comedy, so we went to see it on a whim. And I think a lot of people are going to check this out not knowing what it is. And I think it's worth your time. It's got its funny bits. The ending isn't the best, but who really watches a comedy for the end of the movie? There's very few comedy movies that like nail the ending. Like, most of them are fucking stupid or don't make sense. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not a big comedy fan, but like, I only like 2 or 3 comedies where there was a fucking point to the movie. I feel like a lot of comedies don't have a point. It's just like, oh, this goofy thing happens, we got to get out of it, blah, blah, blah. Like, I love Dodgeball, but the whole point is to save a gym. There's no substance behind that. Like, I like a comedy like While You Were Sleeping, because at least there was a point to that movie. There's just like certain things that like comedies should do. And I know they have goofy and ridiculous endings, but this just felt like they kind of lost the tone of the movie by the end of it. So I'm going to give this movie a solid 7. I think it's better than half the shit I've seen this year. You guys can check out my rankings when it comes out. I'm going to do a top 10 movies of the year. But while I wouldn't put this in my top 10, if someone put this on, I'd watch it again. If my daughter wanted to watch it, I'd rent it and watch it. I think this is a movie you could wait for it to come out, but you should check it out. I think Kyle Mooney put a lot of thought into this, and he had a very good idea. It just, the execution falls apart at the end of the film. And Rachel Ziegler sucks. I don't know how she's getting so many jobs. Honestly, she's a terrible actress. Like, I don't even know what she's been into. Hold on, before I go, I want to see. Okay, she was in West Side Story 2021, which I fucking hated. I'm trying to think of anything that I've seen her in that I liked, and none of the movies they have her in I thought were good. Like Shazam! Fury of the Gods was terrible. The Hunger Games, Ballad of Snakes, and whatever the fuck was bad. Yeah, I don't think she's good at all. Legally Blonde was all right. Is that the original movie? Yeah, Legally Blonde was all right. A Star Is Born. I don't even know what she was in that. Yeah, I don't really know anything she's done but I don't know what this push is to put her into every film, but she's not a good actress. She's not good at all. That's just my personal opinion. And she really brings down the movie because she's the central focus point with the other guy, and I just don't think they had good chemistry. But anyways, it's a 7 out of 10. I'd say if there's nothing else out currently, go check this one out. If you're bored or you want a good laugh, go check this one out. But wait for it to come on VOD. It's definitely worth like the $10 it's going to cost. And, have a good laugh. The first 30 minutes of this movie is fucking hilarious. After that, it's just wanting to see where it goes. And to be quite honest, it just goes where you expect it would go. But anyways, in the comments below, let me know. Have you seen Y2K? Or, here's a good question. What is your favorite disaster movie? Okay, my favorite, end of the world movie is This Is the End. And if you guys don't know what that is, maybe if you want me to, I'll do a review on that movie. But This Is the End was the fucking funniest raunchy comedy movie I'd seen up to that point in a couple of years. I really liked that one. But what's your favorite, end of the world kind of movie? Put it in the comments below. Let me know. And I will be coming back. I'm going to do a review on Secret Level, which is right up there for me with Arcane. And I'm going to be doing a review on Arcane, the entire series, not just the season. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'm going to do a breakdown of the entire series and give a full series score. And I'm going to be doing, in the next couple of weeks, probably after Nosferatu releases, I'm going to start my top 10 list. So my first one is going to be my top 10 series. And these are going to be across Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all of them. I'm going to take the best series that I've seen from all of them, and I'm going to go from 10 to 1. And then I'm going to do the same for horror movies. And then finally, just movies, actions, comedies, all of that. It's just my movies category. So it'll just be top 10 films. It'll exclude any shows or horror movies because they got their separate things. So let me know what you guys want me to review, if there's anything you want me to check out. And as always, remember, me and Nick Cage's only rule here in the Phantom Zone: kneel before General Zod.